even with all of this, and get at least some appropriation bills through the Senate so that we'll have something closer to a regular order appropriations process. Most members don't like being completely irrelevant, and when you hand the administration, it was particularly absurd, of course, to hand the previous administration a blank check. We're not going to want to hand this one a blank check either, and so there'll be a lot of interest in trying to achieve that. You're right, it will be challenging.
We budget a lot of time for.
And what about the debt ceiling?
That's up to the Treasury. So we will, in consultations with the Treasury Secretary, find out when they anticipate the penetration of the debt ceiling, and that's something we're going to deal with in conjunction with the White House at that time. Okay. We don't do people shouting out, okay? Chad. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is there a difference here between the pen and phone of this president compared to the pen and phone of President Obama? I know that both of you have made a big point about the power of Congress wanting to legislate. He signed a whole trough of executive orders here, and it seems as though the perception among Republicans is just because he has an R next to his name, that these work a little bit better and you're deferring to executive action, which you didn't do that in the case of the president.
It's quite the opposite, Chad. President Obama uses pen and phone and executive orders to exceed his power in our perspective. Everything that President Obama did by executive order, this new president can undo. We would like to see these things undone, and we'd like to see power restored to the people in the states, not the federal government. And that is what this new president is doing. He's restoring the proper balance, and in our opinion, he is undoing a lot of damage that was done by the last president who exceeded his power. Sure. It's quite
President Obama. I understand that it could very well go back to the Secure Fence Act. You guys have dealt with a lot of issues with the Secure Fence, whether it had to do with environmental lawsuits, private property owners who had issues with the border wall going through their property. How are you guys going to be dealing with those same issues that you dealt with back then this time around?
I think if you take a look at the history of this of the Secure Fence Act, the last administration frustrated the deployment of the fence. This administration is doing the opposite of it. They're facilitating the deployment of the fence. We agree with this. We voted for this in 2006, along with plenty of people like our friend Chuck Schumer, the minority leader of the Senate, voted for the Secure Fence Act. Now we're going to actually deploy this fence, and we will anticipate a supplemental coming from the administration very shortly on how to finish construction and the funding of the fence. And then if there are any other barriers in the way, we will deal with those barriers. But a lot of those barriers we think can be done by executive order through the administration, just like the last administration frustrated the deployment of the fence or the wall. Speaking.
Two-part question. One, will you offset the cost of the wall, and if so, how? And number two, are you saying that by August recess, you will both have a tax reform bill enacted into law and Obamacare replacement enacted?
So as far as the offset, we're going to wait and see from the administration what their supplemental looks like. I'm not going to get ahead of a policy and a bill that has not been written yet. But the point is we are going to finance the Secure Fence Act, which is the construction of the physical barrier on the border. We have ambitious goals and ambitious timelines. Our goal is to get these laws done in 2017. We aspire to get most of these big things done by the August recess because that's when Congress does most of its legislating. But by and large, our goal is by the end of 2017, we have made good on so many of the promises that we made to the people and the policies that we ran on. Again, the reason we're doing this is because there are people hurting in this country. The reason we're doing this is because America is not anywhere near its potential. We want faster economic growth, a healthier economy, more wages, and we want American businesses to be able to compete. We are losing businesses left and right. They're moving overseas. They're being bought by foreign companies. They're inverting and becoming foreign companies. We have to fix this so that we keep American businesses in America. And we also believe comprehensive fundamental tax reform can put American businesses in a better position to keep businesses here and make things in America and export them around the world. That creates a lot of good jobs. Healthcare, you all know the law is collapsing. Double-digit premium increases. Deductibles are so high, they're 3 times the rate or the size of those in the large group market. This law is collapsing. 5 states only have one healthcare insurance company, one healthcare plan. 1 out of 3 counties in America only have one healthcare plan. That is not a choice, that is a monopoly. So we believe, on behalf of the American people who are struggling under this law that is collapsing, we have to act. We got time for one more.
Let me just add on Obamacare.
No yelling.
Remember Bill Clinton said last year, it's the craziest thing you've ever seen. 8 out of 10 Americans wanted either repealed entirely or dramatically changed. If Hillary Clinton were president and Chuck Schumer were the majority leader, we'd be revisiting Obamacare. The status quo is clearly unacceptable. Obviously, if Hillary Clinton was president and Chuck Schumer were majority leader, we'd be moving toward a single-payer system. That's not our vision of how this ought to be handled. But the status quo is completely unsustainable.
Steve?
Yeah, Cindy, can both of you speak specifically overall about your agenda? Can you say that the Republican Party, the majority now, will not take actions that add to the deficit? At the end of the year, we're not going to have higher deficits from actions that we're taking, whether it be on taxes, whether it be on Obamacare, whether it be on the infrastructure package. Because, whenever anybody comes in and they have power, suddenly it's easier to borrow, and there's a lot of pressure to sort of pass out goods. Can you sort of make that commitment now that at the end of the year, you want to pass,
You know us well. You've been covering budgets for a long time. We are fiscal conservatives. What that means is we believe government should not live beyond its means. We believe that hardworking taxpayers in this country deserve a break in this country. And that means Washington takes less money from them, and we also spend less here. That means we have to get our fiscal house in order to prevent a debt crisis in the future. There are 2 things that we can do this year that we think will move us in a great direction on fiscal policy. Get healthcare fixed. The driving force of our coming debt crisis are out-of-control healthcare programs that are collapsing. If we can help fix healthcare, bring more choice and more competition, so we have better quality and lower costs and lower prices, that will dramatically help improve our budget situation. And then if we can get people back to work. If we can get people who are on welfare, who aren't on work, back into the workforce, it's better for them. We need them in the economy. We need these people working for the sake of them in our communities. And that means we have more people working, more people paying taxes, faster economic growth, and more revenues. Those 2 things right there are some of the best things we could do to improve our fiscal situation, to wall off or prevent an oncoming debt crisis that we know is coming. We are fiscal conservatives. If we're going to be spending on things like, say, infrastructure, we're going to find the fiscal space to pay for that in our spring budget. And so those are the things we're planning on doing. These are the ideas and the principles we ran on, and that is why we've laid out for our members a very bold and aggressive agenda to make good on these things, because at the end of the day, if we get these things done, we really believe that we're going to get this country back on the right track and turn things around for the people who sent us here to work for them.
Thanks, everybody. We gotta go.
Thanks. Thank you.